The first thought that crossed my mind when I woke up was that my throat was a bit sore. I tried speaking but found that I couldn't. That's because there was something in my throat. Something hard. I looked around and realized I was in a hospital room with tubes and wires connected to various parts of my body. I also discovered a cast had been placed on my left arm, and I could feel the bandages on my face. What the hell's going on? I wondered. How long have I been here? What happened to me? I tried moving, but found it difficult. The door to my room opened, and a nurse came in to check on me. She looked at my chart and checked my vitals, then left the room. A few minutes later, she was back with what I presumed was a doctor. He also checked my vitals and flashed a light in my eyes. After he finished humming and hawing, he spoke to the nurse, and the two of them removed the tube that had been placed down my throat. That explained why I couldn't talk earlier. "Welcome back to the land of the living, Mr. Neely," the doctor said, standing up. That was me, by the way. Jackson Neely, or Jack, to my friends. I tried talking, but my throat and lips were too dry. The nurse gave me an ice chip, and I sucked on it until it melted. Then she gave me another. "How long?" I managed to croak. "You've been here for 10 days, Mr. Neely. You had some swelling on your brain, and we put you in a coma to let your head heal. You took quite a blow to the head. You also suffered a broken arm." He turned to the nurse. "Why don't you call Mrs. Neely and let her know her husband is awake?" he said. I shook my head when he said that. "No," I told him. He looked at me, concerned. "Why not?" he asked. "She's the reason I'm here," I said as I sucked on another ice chip. "I see. Perhaps we should contact the police then?" I nodded my head. "Yes, and a divorce attorney." The doctor laughed at that. "We'll get the police for you. In fact, there's already been a detective asking us about you. You'll have to find your own divorce attorney, though." I nodded my head. "Thanks anyway," I told him. He chuckled, then ordered the nurse to take me down for x-rays. When I was wheeled back into my room, a man wearing a trench coat came in and introduced himself. "Detective Mel Green, Metro PD," he said as he flashed a badge. "You feeling good enough to talk for a few minutes?" "Yes," I said as I took a sip of water. He sat down next to my bed and pulled out a pad and an audio recorder. He set the recorder on the tray in front of me and turned it on. "I hope you don't mind if I record this," he said. "No, not at all," I said. He spoke into the recorder to mark the date, time, and location of the interview, then turned to me. "Okay, Mr. Neely, tell us what happened." Well, I had just got home after spending a couple of days in Pittsburgh with a client. I had finished the visit a day early and wanted to get home to be with Julie, my wife. When I got home, I saw a strange car in the driveway. I figured that she was maybe having company, one of the girls from her office. I parked in the driveway and went into the house. Most of the house was dark, but I saw light coming from upstairs and I heard moaning. I had a pretty good idea what was going on, but I went upstairs anyway. That's when I saw them, Julie and some guy, having intimacy in my bed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Well, I stepped into the room and yelled out. They stopped and looked at me like I was an alien or something. The guy unplugged from my wife and I went after him. I was gonna belt him in the mouth, but he beat me to the punch, literally. He hit me square in the face, once. That was the biggest fist I had ever seen in my life. The next thing I know, I'm waking up here, I said. "Did you recognize the man with your wife?" "No, I've never seen him before," I said. "Did you know your wife was having an affair?" he asked. I suspected something was going on, but I wasn't sure. Wait a minute. I just remembered. There are cameras set up in the house. I hired a private investigator just before my last trip. I wanted to find out if my wife was cheating on me. He wired up the house for audio and video just before I left. Everything was supposed to be saved to a cloud server. I never got a chance to check when I got home. It's probably still there. Detective Green opened his bag and pulled out a laptop. "Think you can access that from here?" he asked. "I think so. I have the credentials written down on the back of a card he gave me. It should still be in my wallet." The detective went to the small wardrobe in the room and pulled my wallet out of the back pocket of my trousers. I looked through it and found the card. "Here it is," I said, pulling the card out. I handed the wallet back, and he tucked it inside my back pocket. "Angus McGregor," Detective Green said, reading the name on the front of the card. "Is that your private investigator?" "Yes, it is," I said. "He's the one who called 911. From what I was told, he gave officers a statement, then followed the ambulance here and gave the hospital your insurance information." "Have you spoken to him yet?" I asked. "Yes. He told me he found you on the floor at the foot of your stairs and then called 911. No one else was in the house at the time he found you. Let's see what the video shows us," he added as he fired up his laptop and connected to the hospital's Wi-Fi. Once connected, he swung the laptop around so I could log in. I typed in the information Julius had written on the card and was presented with a directory listing of videos. I selected the video corresponding to the time I was at the house and hit play. The video began as Julie, my soon-to-be ex-wife, entered the living room through the front door, followed by a very large, muscular, bald-headed man. "Do you recognize that man?" Mel asked. "He's the one who hit me. I've never seen him before that day, though." We continued watching the video. After looking around the room, Julie turned to the man and gave him a scorching hot tongue kiss. "Come on," she told him. "Let's go upstairs and finalize our deal." The big man sneered and swatted her on the back. "Let's do it," he said. They walked up the stairs and the video ended shortly afterward. I remembered Julius telling me the cameras were motion activated, so I went back to the directory and double-clicked on the next one in the list. That video started with Julie and the two-legged mountain walking in the bedroom. Julie walked to her side of the dresser, opened one of the drawers, and pulled out a thick envelope. She handed it to the man, who pulled out a huge wad of cash. He quickly counted it, then put it back in the envelope. "Half now? Half when the job is done," Julie said. "Just as we agreed." Holy crap, I thought. Was she paying this guy to kill me? He sneered as he looked her over. "Well, sweet cheeks, what do you say we seal this little deal?" he asked. Julie smiled as she looked him over. Then she started undressing. Soon she was naked before him. The man took his clothes off and the two of them embraced one more time before getting on the bed. "Which side does your husband sleep on?" he asked. "Why?" she asked in response. "That's the side I want to be intimate with you on," he told her. She giggled and pointed to the side closest to the door. "He sleeps right there," she said. "Good. Go on, get over there. Let's leave a nice wet spot for him." "You're so wicked," she said as she spread her legs for him. We watched as the two of them went at it on my side of the bed. They continued for some time, and I could tell he had finished at least once and was building up to another. That's when I walked in and caught them. "What the hell is going on here?" I yelled in the video. The two cheaters stopped long enough to take a look at me. Julie had a smirk on her face as the big man pulled out of her. I watched myself charge the much bigger man as he stood, but he pulled back with one fist and caught me right in the middle of my face, causing me to fall down instantly. Then he picked me up by my collar and hit me again, and again, and again. He hit me in the face several times, then dragged my limp body out of the room. Julie got out of bed and followed, not bothering to cover herself. The video ended at that point. I went back to the directory and selected the next video. That video showed 3 sets of feet at the top of the staircase. One set of feet, mine, was the only one with shoes. The big man picked me up and literally threw me down the stairs. My body lay still at the bottom of the staircase. "Is he dead?" Julie asked. "Don't know. Want me to finish him off right now?" "Not in my house. I don't want to have to clean any more of his blood than I have to. Let him lay there. Maybe he'll do us both a favor and die." "Maybe. Even if he doesn't, I can come back and finish the job. Let's get out of here. We can finish what we started at my hotel room." A couple of minutes later, Julie and the man came back down the stairs, dressed, and walked out of the house, stepping over my body. The video ended shortly thereafter. Out of curiosity, I checked the next video and opened it up. In that one, Angus was seen coming inside the house. He checked on me, then pulled out his phone and called 911. He sat next to me until the paramedics and police arrived. I ended the video and checked the directory. There were no more videos after that. Whatever the cheaters had done, they apparently chose to do it somewhere other than the house. "What now?" I asked. "Well, we need to find your wife and her accomplice and arrest them. You sure you've never met that man before?" "No, never. You sound like you know who he is." "His real name is James Hammond. He goes by Jimmy the Ham. He's a hitman, wanted by the feds for a string of murders. He's well known for killing his victims with his bare hands after he cuckolds them. You're damn lucky to be alive. I just can't figure out why your wife would want you dead. From what I know, you're basically a salesman." "Account representative," I said, correcting him. "I travel a bit and I do some sales, but most of my job is keeping customers happy by keeping them profitable." "Any problems in the marriage?" Green asked. "Not until recently," I told him. "Are you one of those guys who play around when he's out of town?" Mel asked. "You mean, do I cheat on my wife?" "Hell no. Do you think I'd cheat when I have that at home waiting for me? You saw her? Would you be out chasing women with that at home?" "No, can't say that I would. So, revenge is out as a motive. Tell me, do you have a life insurance policy?" "Yes. I have $1 million policy through my work. Pays double in the event of an accident." "And your wife is the beneficiary of that?" Green asked. "Yes. But there's more," I said. "What's that?" he asked. "I won a lottery prize not too long ago, $3 million after taxes. I was going to surprise Julie with a cruise for our anniversary." "Did she know about the money?" Green asked. "I told her I had won, but I didn't tell her how much we won, though. I normally handle all our finances, so I didn't think she would find out about it since she rarely looks at the bank statements." "So if something were to happen to you, she could potentially walk away with as much as $5 million, right?" Green asked. "I suppose so," I said, after giving it a bit of thought. "You think she'd really kill me for money?" "One of the oldest motivations known to man," Green said. "Damn," I said. "Why don't you log into your account and see how much you have left?" he suggested. I did, and found that Julie had made 3 withdrawals of $5,000 over the last 12 days. The rest was still in the account. "While you're here, why don't you go ahead and cancel any joint credit cards you may have? Once you're done, I'll make a call and put a temporary freeze on the account, just until we have her in custody," he suggested. I followed his suggestion and canceled our joint credit cards and reported her ATM card as stolen. When I finished, he made a call to get an order freezing Julie out of the account. "Any idea where your wife is now?" he asked when he finished. I shook my head. "No idea. Ordinarily, I'd say that she would normally be at home this time of day, but I really don't know. Angus might know." "Your private investigator?" Mel asked. I nodded my head. "Yeah," I said. "Give him a call. We've been playing phone tag the last few days, so he'll be expecting a call from me anyway." I took the phone and dialed Angus's number. He answered after the second ring. "McGregor," he said when he answered. "Angus, this is Jack Neely," I said. "Jack, you're awake. Thank God. I was so worried. This isn't your phone, though." "No, Detective Green is with me in the hospital," I said. "Even better. I've been trying to get in touch with him, but we keep missing each other." "Angus, do you know where Julie is?" I asked. "Yes. Put me on speaker and I'll tell both of you." I put the phone on speaker and set it on the tray in front of me. "This is Detective Green. Can you hear me okay, Mr. McGregor?" "Of course. And call me Angus, please. Mr. McGregor was my father." We all got a chuckle out of that. So where is Mrs. Neely now? Mel asked. She's at the international airport and she just purchased a ticket for Chicago. The plane doesn't leave for 4 hours, so you should have enough time to apprehend her. What about James Hammond? Is he with her? Not now, but from what I've learned, he's set to meet her there in the next couple of days. Okay. Angus, you keep your eye on her. I'll make a call and have her apprehended. Will do, Angus said before ending the call. Green called his partner and instructed him to get an arrest warrant for Julie. Then he made another call and put an APB, all points bulletin, out for Hammond. By the time he finished, the doctor came back into the room. How long is Mr. Neely going to be here? Mel asked. Probably a few more days yet. He's healing just fine, but he took a pretty bad beating, you know. Yes, I can see that. I'm going to arrange for a couple of officers to stand guard over him while he's here, if that's all right. That's all right with me, so long as they don't get in the way, the doctor said. Good, Mel said in response. He turned to me before speaking. You take care of yourself, Jack. We'll be in touch. Call if you need anything. Thanks, Detective, I said. After he left, I lay in bed and tried watching some television, but my mind kept going back to my wife. Why would she do this to me? I asked myself. Wasn't I a good husband and provider? I thought back over our lives together and wondered what happened to the sweet girl I met in college. I went straight to college out of high school. My father had worked his whole life in a factory, and he made sure I had enough money for college, so I went and got a degree in business. That's where I met Julie Hempstead. I was smitten from the moment we first met. We dated for a couple of years, fell in love, and got married after we graduated. I went to work for a financial services company that specialized in helping small to medium-sized businesses maximize their bottom line. She got a job working for a bank downtown. She started as a teller and then worked her way into the home loan department. We both made pretty good money and bought a house about a year after we married. The first 4 years of our marriage were wonderful. We had intimacy almost every day of the week, twice on Saturdays and Sundays. I thought we were a happy couple living the dream. We had even started talking about having children. So why, after all this time, would she do this? I wondered. Was it just the money? My thoughts were interrupted when I heard a knock at the door. I looked up to see 2 policemen poke their heads into my room. We'll be right outside your room if you need anything, one of the officers said. I nodded my head. Thank you, officers, I said. Shortly after that, there was another knock and Angus came inside. He walked to one side of the bed and looked me over. You look a lot better than when they brought you in. How do you feel? Like I've been run over by a truck. What's going on? Well, they arrested your wife at the airport. From what I gathered, they're charging her with attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. What about Hammond? I asked. They're still looking for him. They've also got officers around your house, but no sign of him just yet. By the way, I found your phone on the floor of your house. Couldn't find the charger, so I bought one for you. Let me just plug it in and get it charging for you. Thanks, I said as he plugged the phone into the wall and set it on the tray next to my bed. I take it you haven't had a chance to speak with a divorce lawyer yet, he said. No, I just woke up from a coma earlier today, I said. He pulled a card from his pocket. That's what I thought. Give this lady a call as soon as you can. I do a lot of work for her, and I already gave her a heads up that you'd be calling. She's very interested in your case, and she absolutely hates cheaters, by the way. Thanks again, I said. So, what happened after they ambushed me? Well, it seems your wife had been planning this for a little while. She took vacation shortly after you left for Pittsburgh. I don't think she planned on ever going back. After your attack, she holed up with Hammond and her boyfriend, going from motel to motel. Never went back to your house. I tried getting in touch with Detective Green to let him know where they were several times, but we kept missing each other. Yeah, he told me you two played phone tag. So, any idea where Hammond is now? No. I've got some feelers out, and if I hear anything, I'll pass it on to Green. Sounds good. What now? I asked. Well, There's not much left to do except catching Hammond. And you need to get your rest and recuperate. I'll stop by and check in on you from time to time." "I appreciate that," I told him. He shook my hand and left me to my thoughts. When I had a sufficient charge on my phone, I called the lawyer he recommended. "Law Office of Alicia Hawkins," the receptionist said when she answered. "I'd like to speak with Ms. Hawkins, please. This is Jack Neely. She was recommended to me by Angus McGregor." "One moment, please," the receptionist said in her cheery voice. A few moments later, I heard another woman's voice come on the line. "Alicia Hawkins, is this Mr. Neely?" "Yes. I got your name and number from Angus McGregor. He suggested I call you." "Yes, Mr. McGregor told me about your situation. I have been expecting your call. I understand you're in the hospital right now?" "Yes, I am, so it's a bit difficult to get around at the moment, and there's a hitman out after me as well," I said. "That's what I heard. Tell you what, Mr. Neely, I'm about ready to call it a day here at the office. Why don't I come to visit you there? Would that be all right?" Wow, I thought. A lawyer who does house calls. "That would be terrific," I said. "Excellent. I'll be there shortly." Alicia showed up with her briefcase about an hour later, and we spent the next hour going over the particulars of my divorce. Although the state we live in is a no-fault state, divorces could be granted on grounds like adultery or cruelty. Alicia said she would draw up the papers citing adultery and extreme cruelty, especially since Julie hired a hitman to kill me, cheated on me with him, and then left me on the floor of my house for dead. Having her in jail would go a long way to helping me get what I wanted in the divorce, which was almost everything. She was putting her things back in her briefcase when Mel knocked on the door and stuck his head inside. He smiled and came into the room after I waved him in. "Good afternoon, Detective Green," Alicia said with a smile. "Ms. Hawkins, I'm not interrupting anything, am I?" "Not at all. We were just finishing up. Do you have an update for us?" "As a matter of fact, I do," he said as he sat down. "Well?" I asked. "Your wife confessed to everything, said she hired Hammond to have you killed and to make it look like an accident." "Why?" I asked. "Money and lust. She said she started having an affair with a co-worker, fella named Sylvester Johnson. You know him?" "No, I don't," I said. "Turns out Johnson is Hammond's nephew. Your wife and Johnson wanted to run off and go to Hawaii but couldn't afford to do it. She looked at your account, saw your lottery winnings, and figured that would be her ticket to paradise. Figured between that and your insurance payout, she'd walk away with $4 or $5 million. Not the first time I've seen that happen. Probably won't be the last. DA is going for the maximum penalty, life in prison without parole. He's also going to recommend she be held in custody without bail. Says since she was caught trying to flee the city, she could be seen as a flight risk." "So, Johnson is the one who hooked her up with Hammond?" I asked. "That's what she says. We've apprehended Johnson and I'll be speaking with him later. If what she says holds up, we'll be charging him as well." "What about Hammond?" I asked. "We're still looking for him. We've got just about every officer in the county after him right now. Until we have him behind bars, we'll keep a guard on your door, and we've got patrols going by your house." I shook my head in disbelief. "I just don't get it. She never gave any hint that she wasn't happy. Why now?" "Who knows?" Mel said. "People will sometimes do crazy things when there's money involved. So how much longer are you going to be in here?" "Doctor says a few more days. He wants to make sure everything is healing up all right." "That sounds wise. Well, I'll get out of your hair for now. If anything happens, I'll keep you in the loop." "Thanks, Detective," I said. "My pleasure," he said, standing up. "Ms. Hawkins, good to see you again." "Good to see you too, Detective Green," she said with a smile. After he left the room, I looked at Alicia. "I take it you know him?" I asked. "Yes, I represented him in his divorce. So I'll get this worked up and have your wife served in jail." "Let me get you a check for your retainer. Would you mind grabbing my wallet out of my trousers, please?" "Not at all. she said, retrieving my wallet. I have a habit of keeping a blank check in my wallet for emergencies, so I pulled it out and wrote it for the amount she requested. She smiled as she accepted the check, then placed it in her briefcase. "We'll be in touch, Jack. Good luck to you." "Thank you for your help," I said. I watched her walk out the door, then turned my attention back to the television. All good things must come to an end, the saying goes. After a couple of weeks, the doctor said I had healed enough to go home. In that time, I received several visitors, friends, and colleagues from work, Angus and Detective Green, who kept me in the loop about the case against Julie and the ongoing manhunt for Hammond. Mel told me Sylvester had been charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Julie was served divorce papers while in jail and decided to accept the end of our marriage without a fight. Alicia told me she signed the papers without any argument whatsoever, which surprised me. In 60 days, I would be a free man, she said. I got the house and all of our assets. Julie would be allowed to keep her car, clothes, and personal items. I called her parents and they arranged to pick everything up. What they did with it after that is their business. Angus picked me up from the hospital and took me home. "Just curious, do you have a gun?" he asked. "Just an old shotgun my dad gave me when I was 17, I said. It was a present for my birthday, and my dad would take me out shooting trap and skeet. Those were some of my happiest memories. I still had the shotgun, but I hadn't fired it in quite a while. It sat, oiled up, in my locked gun case. I also had a box of shells for the thing." "Why?" I asked. "Hammond's still out there. You may want to keep it handy." Crap, I thought. That night, I pulled the old shotgun out and gave it the once-over. It was in good shape, even though I hadn't used it in a long time. I pulled out the box of shells and loaded it up. I thought about sleeping in the master bedroom, but I couldn't. Not after what I had witnessed there before. So I slept on my recliner in the living room, the loaded shotgun within reach. It turned out that was a wise move. I woke up late that night after I thought I heard some scratching outside the house. I grabbed the shotgun and looked around from where I sat. I only had one good arm, so I decided to use my left arm, which was still in a cast, as a rest for the shotgun. I looked and thought I saw a silhouette of a large man just inside the sliding glass door that leads into the backyard. As I looked, the silhouette moved and I saw a large pistol in one of his hands. Apparently, he hadn't seen me yet. Otherwise, I would probably be dead. I thought I'd get the drop on him, so I reached over and flipped the switch on my lamp. When I did, I saw him, James Hammond, and he was armed. He looked at me, surprised. I saw him start to raise his pistol, so I brought up my shotgun and let him have it. He fell back against the screen door, nearly taking it out of its tracks. In the process, he fired a round from his pistol, but his bullet ended up in the ceiling. I got up, pumped another round into the chamber, and fired again. That round hit him square in the chest and put his body through the screen door. I saw him lying on my deck, blood pouring out from his body. I picked up the phone and called 911. I pumped another round into the chamber and walked slowly to the door. I stood over his body and was about to put a third round into him when I saw flashing lights. Soon, the place was filled with officers, their guns drawn. I put the shotgun down and raised my hands so they could see I was unarmed. One of the officers checked Hammond for a pulse and shook his head. Another officer called for an ambulance. I spent the next hour or so giving my statement to the officers. Just when I thought it was all over, the ambulance arrived. Detective Green drove in behind the paramedics. The paramedics checked Hammond and put his lifeless body in a bag. After zipping it shut, they put it on a gurney and took him away, stopping only to let Mel look at Hammond's face. "You all right?" he asked me. I nodded my head. I was still a bit shaken by the whole experience. I had never shot a man before, and I certainly had never killed anyone. Until that night, the only thing I had ever killed was a clay pigeon. "Yeah, I'll be fine." Mel turned to the other officers in the house before speaking. "You fellas just about done here?" he asked. "We're wrapping it up now, Detective. a sergeant told Mel. Good. Make sure I get a report on this ASAP. Will do, the sergeant said. Mel turned back to me. How about I buy you a cup of coffee after they're done? He asked. Yeah, that sounds good. Let me go throw something on. I don't think they'd care for me to come in my pajamas. Probably not, Mel said. I left the front room and headed upstairs. After changing into a pair of jeans and a t-shirt, I went back down. The other officers had just left and Mel was waiting for me. Ready? He asked. Yeah, I'm ready, I said. We left the house and got into his car. He drove us to an all-night coffee shop not far from the house. We went inside and ordered our coffee. It had been a while since I had a caramel mocha, so I ordered one. A large. Mel chuckled as he paid the tab. Thought you said you wanted coffee, not liquid candy. Been a while since I've had one of these, so thought I'd treat myself, I told him. We sat down and took a sip of our drinks. How you holding up? He asked. I'm okay, I guess, I said. Never shot anyone before. I know how you feel, Jack, he said. You ever kill anyone? I asked. Yeah. The first time it happened, I nearly threw up. I was just a rookie cop right out of the academy. Hadn't been on the beat for a whole month. Like you, I knew it was either him or me, and I was determined that it wouldn't be me put into a body bag. And you had the benefit of training, I said. Yeah, well, I don't think you can ever truly train anyone to handle something like that. You got lucky. You know that, don't you? Hammond was a trained killer. Yeah, I know, I said quietly. Well, the important thing is that you're alive and he's not. Fortunately for you, we have castle laws in this state, so you won't be prosecuted. Thank goodness for that, I said. Mel smiled as he chuckled. He pulled a card out of his pocket and handed it to me. I read the name on the card, Dr. Rose Carlson. I think you should give her a call. She's the best counselor in the business. If anyone can help you get through all this, she can. Thanks, I'll do that, I told him, putting the card in my shirt pocket. We sat for a while, drinking coffee while talking about various things. Fishing, football, general guy stuff. After we finished our drinks, Mel looked at his watch. I gotta get back to work, he said. You ready to head out? I'm ready, I told him. We threw our empty cups in the trash and left the coffee shop. He dropped me off at my house and wished me well. Don't forget to call Dr. Carlson. I'll be in touch. Thanks again, Detective Green, I told him. I watched him drive away, then went back into my house. I tried to get some sleep but was unable to. Finally, about 7:30 a.m., I got up, showered, and ate some breakfast. I decided there was one thing left for me to do. After making a call, I went to the county jail where Julie was being held. I sat in the visiting area and watched as Julie was brought out. She looked tired, and the orange jumpsuit she wore didn't do much for her at all. She sat in the chair across from me and picked up the phone on her side of the plexiglass partition between us. I picked up the phone on my side. Hello, Julie, I said. Hello, Jack. What do you want? I signed the papers. You've got everything now. I want some answers. How long has this been going on with Sylvester? I guess you're entitled to know. Not very long. Maybe 2 or 3 months. Why? Was I not a good enough husband or lover? Was it something I did or said? Why would you rip out my heart like that? I don't know. I guess I was taken in by his charm. I know we talked about having kids and I was scared. I was afraid I'd get fat and ugly and you wouldn't find me attractive anymore. That's bullshit, Julie, and you know it. That doesn't excuse what you did. There has to be something else. What is it? Was it the money? Julie looked down, sheepish, before answering. Well, I guess so. Sylvester told me we could use that to run away and start fresh. Maybe take a cruise around the world. Is that why you decided to have me killed, Julie? I asked. Sylvester said he could arrange it so I would get all of the money, plus your insurance, without having to pay big bucks for a divorce. And he put you in touch with Hammond? I asked. She nodded her head. "Did you know Hammond was Sylvester's uncle?" I asked. Again, Julie nodded her head. "Yes," she said. "So why be intimate with Hammond and in our bed?" I asked. "He said he'd give me a discount if I did him in our bed. That's when you walked in and caught us." "And you just left me for dead," I said. Tears fell down Julie's cheeks as she nodded her head. "Yes, I'm sorry," she stammered. "Hammond is dead," I told her after an awkward silence. She looked at me, shocked. "What do you mean, dead?" she asked. "He came by to finish the job you paid him to do. I killed him when he broke into the house." "How?" she asked. "The shotgun my dad gave me when I was a kid. Blew his ass right back out the door." "I forgot all about that shotgun," she said. She looked at me with sad eyes. "I'm so sorry about everything. Do you think you can ever forgive me?" I laughed out loud, loud enough to catch the guard's attention for a moment. "You gotta be shitting me, Julie. No, I will never forgive you for what you did. And from what I understand, you'll have the rest of your life to think about it. I hope it was worth it to you. Goodbye, Julie." I hung the phone back up, not wanting to hear any more from her. She slowly hung her phone up and looked at me with tears in her eyes. I got up, turned around, and walked away. The next 2 months went fast. It took a while, but I finally got everything I wanted packed and out of the house. After doing some minor repairs to the place, I put it up for sale and bought a nice condo not far from my office. I was called to testify in Julie's trial as well as Sylvester's. It didn't take the jury long to find them both guilty of all charges. A week later, I was asked to address the court for Julie's sentencing. The judge thanked me for my time and sentenced Julie to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sylvester also got a life sentence. It turned out I had a life sentence as well, but mine wasn't served in prison. Julie's betrayal and attempt to have me murdered affected me worse than I thought it would. My body had healed, but I was a wreck emotionally. I spent the next 2 years in counseling with Dr. Carlson, who said I was suffering from a form of PTSD. I worked, came home, ate, watched television, and went to bed. I hit the gym 3 times a week and went to counseling once a week. That was my life. I couldn't even bring myself to go out or ask a woman for a date. I just didn't trust anyone. As for intimacy, well, let's just say I watched porn from time to time and got very acquainted with my right hand. Finally, Rose suggested I put my fears aside and ask someone out. I considered it for some time before I finally screwed up enough courage to take that next step. But, I wondered, who should I ask out? There were quite a few women in my office who had expressed an interest in me, but I was concerned about dating co-workers. Finally, one day, I decided to heck with it and asked Rhonda, a colleague who worked in a different section of the company, out for dinner. To my amazement, she accepted. We had a great time, and I felt more relaxed with her than I originally thought I would. We didn't have intimacy on that first date. That happened after the 3rd date, and she rocked my world. We've been dating now for about 6 months, and things are going quite well. She's even introduced me to her parents, and we seem to get along just fine. Will I ever marry again? I don't know. One day, perhaps. For now, though, I'm just taking things one day at a time. Who knows what the future will bring? And so, we've reached the end of today's story. Was it what you expected, or did it take a twist you didn't see coming? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below, and let's get a conversation going. If this story kept you hooked, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here or just haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to join our community. I bring you fresh, captivating stories every day, so click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.